Hello. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our second anniversary of the Foxhole Devstream.
Yes!
My name is Matt. Let me know if there's any technical difficulties at all, because
I think they started already, Matt.
they started apparently, because I changed the setup.
Oh, nice.
I just want to make sure.
Make sure everything's smooth
Make sure
before
everything's
before we dive too deep into the cool things we're gonna be talking about.
So why don't we start by talking about what's been going on in the office for a little while?
Well, I think we're all just freaking excited about finally getting this update out the door.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
I actually think this is the most effort the team has ever put into a single update for Foxhole by far. I think probably by like a factor of 2. That's not even over exaggerating. Like so many people really put all the stops to make this update happen. So and we really made it a point to get it done before the holidays because we want to make sure that when everyone has their time off, they have something fun to play. So
Including us.
I know Matt's been like saying to me the whole week, like, well, it's kind of funny because Matt's stressful point was sort of over after last Friday.
Yeah,
he's still fixing issues, but he's just like, I just can't wait to play the game.
Yeah, no, I just want to play it because it's been like I was saying today when we were doing some testing, like things have changed that I haven't experienced because I've been so like wrapped up in this stuff that I just kind of want to play the game again.
No, it's looking really cool. I think I'm excited to play again, and
I mean, the whole world has changed. It's crazy.
I know. Right? Yeah. There's so much there. Like in volume of content that you get to like run around and find and do stuff. It's really like mind blowing because sure, when we did World Conquest, it was like all the maps together. But at that time, it was like putting several maps that had already been there.
It was the same content.
Yeah, together. This time is like here.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think World Conquest was a game changer for sure in terms of the gameplay, but I think in terms of the content and just in terms of like the coolness factor, this is the biggest update.
Yeah,
right.
I would say it's the most Foxhole that we've ever delivered in one update.
Yeah,
like there's a lot happening, and I definitely think like the way that we've sort of systematically gone through a bunch of stuff is like a little bit of a departure as well. I think like often, often we have like one big feature, and then it's like okay, then that's like sort of the focus of the update. And this one, there's quite a few.
And it was a theme, Matt, which was that everyone wanted to go the extra mile on each feature. Like usually we kind of stop and be like, okay, we got it, whatever, ship this. But I know that everyone on the team was really pushing each feature to try to add even more than what I expected. Like, I can't wait to like talk about more about what's coming this update. But it's just crazy. Like people were scope creeping on their own, which is bad, right? It's bad for the schedule, but I think that everyone just wanted it to be good. Like there was no other reason behind it. There wasn't like a business reason. There wasn't a mandate from me or anything. Like I think people were just scope creeping because they genuinely wanted it to be better, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So
and like this is something that's really important is like this is just the start of sort of the new Foxhole as well. Like we're only gonna add more from here. So like that's the kind of the more exciting part to me is it's like okay, this is the Foundation of War update, right?
It's called Foundation of War for a reason.
So that is both like true and like metaphorical, like so I think
on a more
it's
holistic level.
Yeah, so I think that's really, to me, really exciting because there's so much more we can build from now. Like I feel like there's this weight off our shoulders. This thing has been hanging on us for like over a year.
To be fair, I think that weight will come out of our shoulders tomorrow.
Well, I think there's another thing. Like I think there's another point to be made, Matt, which is that 2018 was a hard year for us in the sense that we had to like build a team. We had to build out a lot of the tech that we're using. World Conquest was completely new. We shipped that at the beginning of the year, and there was just a lot of like trying to like build up the infrastructure that we needed, right? But I almost feel like this update is the first time where we weren't like the infrastructure was there. And now we get to harness it
and do what we really want
and
to.
do what we really want.
Yeah.
And that excites me about next year, because next year it's like the whole year is going to be like that, right? So,
can you imagine that like we release World Conquest this year? It feels like a long time ago, to be honest.
it feels like a long time ago,
This
because
is insane.
there was also a lot of old systems in the game that we had to replace this year. And I feel like a lot of the replacement phase is over with. I mean, there's still more to replace, right? But I think a lot of the really bad stuff like the voice chat and you know all these other things. You know, anyways,
It's been a very labor-intensive couple of months, and we're really excited to share what's coming with you.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's talk about the Devstream.
community.
Yeah, let's get into the Devstream per se. As you guys know, probably don't know, if it's the first time MHB, I do this community highlights because KFC, every 2 weeks, he picks up like the best stuff from the community and puts it together. And I just show a little bit of it. This is, as you guys can see from the t-shirts that we have on. Hey, wait, they can't see it. They don't have a camera right now. Oh, okay.
They commented on it already.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Ferg has been doing artwork for Foxhole for quite a while on his like very particular style, and this one is it's kind of like a Don Quixote against the windmills. It's in a Foxhole. I think it was like so cool, so clever, because now we have all that. Yeah. So it ties in very well together with like the stuff that we're doing, like the redesign and like the possibilities that we are opening by having like these new places, like more possibilities for you to explore and have fun and role play and do whatever, right? So I think it's really cool. I'm pretty sure that the guy on the motorcycle is Adam. The one on the sidecar might be Anthony.
Kind of looks like it.
Yeah,
Pretty sure it's Anthony.
yeah, I think it
looks
might
like
be
it.
Anthony. But anyway, let's go to the next one. Next one, it's some really cool stuff as well. First of all, on the left side, we have Cerberus. He did like this just mind-blowing Warden cosplay costume in this case with a flag, which is really cool. Really well done. Captures the game. I cannot wait to see like him actually wearing it. I think it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next time that we go to an event, show up wearing a Warden costume.
We'll have a
That would
Warden
be great.
cosplayer.
That would be quite something. And on the right there, we have our own and only Mark, done by Torrento.
It does look like Kojima.
A little bit. I guess Mark, in the dark,
If-
very far, if you squint your eyes,
I
it
don't know.
might look like Kojima.
If Mark grew
I
like
don't
a
think
little bit
so.
like of a goatee, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe 1/10 of the genius, but sure.
It's a really
I'll
cool
take what I
drawing
can
though.
get.
Hey man, it's somebody's acknowledging you. It's pretty cool, right?
It's pretty damn cool.
do you want Kojima's genius?
No, I think I would just go insane.
Anyway, and last but not least, we have Captain in Arms doing press corps, I guess, doing frontline news, and this is just some propaganda for his press corps, which is really cool. I thought it was like just amazingly well done. Looks the part. And if you guys have a chance to catch it live on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/presscorps, and it's really fun to watch and listen.
Well, I think that he also has like a Discord now as well.
Yeah, if you look at the
link
right,
is there.
on the right side there, I'll increase to the Discord link below,
Which we do not have here.
which I messed up. I think I forgot to put the link.
Well, hopefully one of the mods can post the link.
Yes.
Or we'll post it later.
Yeah,
Or it'll be in the
KFC will
community
get it.
highlights.
KFC will definitely get it. Sorry, my mistake. But below there's another link, which is a logic calculator that Castle has been working on. And if you guys haven't had a chance to look at this, it's pretty sweet. You get to input everything that you want, and it tells you how much it's gonna take. how many, what are the resources that it's going to consume, how long is it going to take to get ready. It's really comprehensive. It's like just very good resource for people that are running Logi that maybe sometimes have trouble dealing with everything. You can save your stuff so you know where you are. It is really, really, really cool. Yeah, so that's it for community highlights. Very quick, because I guess this update is just too big and there's a lot to do. And I don't know if you guys know, but at the very, very end of this stream, there's gonna be a cool video.
Cool celebration.
Yeah, it's a
cool
celebration
video.
of like the 2 years and something that you guys have been asking for. So you guys can.
So make sure you stick around until the
Yeah.
end of the Q&A, because we're not showing the video until the very end.
Yeah.
So either stick around or leave and come back.
Yeah. So this.
Prefer if you stay.
For the ones that are catching us up for the first time, this community highlights that we guys just saw happens every 2 weeks. KFC gathers everything that our community has done that is amazing, put it in one big blog post, and then you guys can look at it, peruse at your own leisure time. There's a lot of things. There is usually a lot of videos, like YouTube videos that are of cool things that people did. Sometimes there's some stories that people write, a lot of images all the time, a lot of artwork. So if you have a chance to check it out, check it. And if you are an aspiring artist, it has been 2 years that we've been doing this Devstream, and on those 2 years, we've been doing community highlights since the majority of it, I would say. I don't know
Since back when our setup was even cruder than it is.
even jankier than it is right now.
Even jankier than it is today.
And
When we used one microphone in the middle of the table, and
I
it was just
know,
Echo
right?
City. It's still Echo City, but at least it's not as bad as it was.
so if you guys ever wanted to be part of it, continue doing it. It humbles us every time to see how crazy good art you guys are making, crazy good videos, and
Everything.
It's
Models, we've seen it all.
yeah, we
Websites.
we look at it and
Cosplay.
it's really, really,
insane.
really fucking cool. Sorry for cursing, I guess. It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't
I
matter.
think we're allowed.
This is marked as mature for mature
perfect.
audiences.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
What's coming next?
Well, Matt,
Development update.
development update. So yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're so just to review the roadmap one last time this year. It's been a long journey the last couple of months. We finally made it until the end, and
Yes.
actually the pre-release patch for update 20 is rolling out this afternoon. It might be in progress right now, or possibly in the next hour or two. So go and check it out. It's going to be rolling out in skirmish mode, so you can get a head start on checking out what some of the new features are like. Be ahead of the world conquest, which starts tomorrow, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we're expecting a lot of traffic. So if you want to get onto the mainland to see the new towns, I suggest you show up early. And it's going to be really exciting. So if you look at this here as well, like we said, we executed on each of these streams, and we're going to be doing the final preview today.
Ooh, I'm
Right?
excited.
So like there's
I'm
a
really
couple
excited.
there's a couple more things that we want to talk about. And if I haven't said it a million times, this update is hitting tomorrow. The full update is hitting tomorrow, and yeah, I don't know. I guess we're just
No, that's. What the fuck? Do we have to go out? The fuck is this?
So that kind of worked out, right?
That worked out.
I think it worked.
We tried our best.
It was real dumb, but it was good.
So a super weapon. The first. I can't even talk after that. All right. Let me gather myself. The first super weapon, the ballistic rocket, is coming to Matt. If you want to switch over, is finally coming to the game.
Yes.
It's coming tomorrow, part of Update 20. So we said that Update 20 was going to be the largest update in the history of Foxhole, and this is our deliverance on that promise, right?
Yeah, we're trying not to lie here.
So this almost didn't make it in, and people on the team, I just have to say, had to push really hard to say the least, just to sneak this in. It is one of the features that I would say is one of the most complex that we ever worked on. It utilizes a lot of what we worked on over the last year in terms of our technology, in terms of the art, and it's just sort of like the accumulation of like much of what we've done over the last year. And this weapon is going to be a very high-end feature, a high barrier feature for players. So it's not something that we expect to happen very often. It's not something that we expect all players to. I think all players will be able to participate in this feature, but in terms of using it, it's really an achievement for the highest level players in Foxhole that are willing to work together with each other.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy thing to do. It's going to be something that requires a lot of coordination, requires a lot of teamwork, a lot of time actually preparing for it, and
it will be the equivalent of a raid from like World of Warcraft, where only the highest end players will,
for sure,
if they can even. I don't know. It's like once you
maybe it's not gonna be.
It's gonna be very hard to achieve, and we're gonna answer some questions about this. We're gonna talk about the rocket a bit, but we're not going to necessarily answer every question because we want players to figure things out for themselves, right? This is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a fun challenge, and we'll see if anyone can pull this off over the holidays, right?
Yeah, hopefully they can. It's going to be very sweet if they can do it.
So I'm going to walk through a few things about the rocket.
Cool.
Basically, there's a bunch of old rocket sites in the world. You have to reactivate them to use, and there's many stages in trying to pull off the rocket. So first of all, you have to build it, which in itself is a huge feat. There are two parts to building the rocket. You need the rocket booster, you need the warhead, and to build those, you have to build those in two different places. And so that requires you to have claimed certain things on the map before you can even do that, right? But before you can even do that, it's at the very end of the technology tree. So once you've got it built, then you have to fuel the rocket. And fueling the rocket, again, it's a huge feat. A minimum of 12 hours if you want to fuel the rocket enough that it can fire into the same region. But if you fuel it for 24 hours, you can fire it across the world. Basically, to any region that you want, right? When you want to fire the rocket, you need a spotter with a radio backpack to generate launch codes. Right? So this is when it gets a little complicated, and this is where we feel like only the highest.
Fun.
It's fun. This is where we feel like only the highest level players are gonna be able to pull this off, because you're gonna really have to work as a team. You will have to have a spotter that will specify a target, and then they will begin transmitting the launch codes for that target. And during that time, they have to be stationary for a good amount of time. And if they are stationary for long enough and the transmission completes, but let me take a step back for 1 second, right? The launch codes don't send automatically. They have to actually tell the launch codes to a launch crew that is back at the rocket site. And then that launch crew, which has to be at least 3 players, each of the 3 players has to put the codes into the rocket site. then it's verified, and then the
Yep.
transmission sequence begins, sends targeting data, and if they make it past the 10-minute transmission period, then finally the rocket is going to lift off, right?
I am so goddamn excited about this.
There's a lot more to this than I just mentioned, and I know you guys have like a million questions about this. They'll get answered over the course of the next few days and the next few weeks, but it's very challenging to try to achieve this. It's kind of like the highest achievement inside the game. And just to show you a little bit more about the two parts, there is the warhead and the rocket booster. So these are two different things that you have to construct. And I really think that this is, again, a process that will take a large team to pull off, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be something easy. It's not going to be something that is going to... Since it is kind of a game changer in a way, it's something that you really have to work together. It's something that's going to take a long time to pull off, if you're able to pull off in a war. It's not gonna be something that people can spam. Hopefully,
no.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think
you actually won't be able to spam it. And again, there's a lot of questions surrounding this. We're gonna answer some of them now. We're gonna answer some of them in the coming days. And some of them they won't be answered until you actually try to use it. Right? And one big thing about this rocket that is really, really cool is that you can change the war. You can literally change the map, right? When you fire this rocket at a target, it will scorch the entire area. It'll level the entire town, basically, and everything is wiped out. All the factories, all the garrison houses, even the town hall itself, it will be gone from the war. And that town, if you launch it at a victory town, that victory town will no longer be part of the win condition. So what this means is if you captured every single town in all the victory towns except for one, you can end the war with this. Right. So it creates a very high stakes game. And what we like about it is that it takes what we used to do, which is to, when a war starts to drag on for too long, we can shorten it. But like everything in Foxhole, we want to make it player driven.
So now we're giving the chances the player to shorten the war if they can pull it off.
So this is going to be really cool. I can't wait to
for you guys
talking about it more. I can't wait for you guys to try it. But there's just so much to it that I feel like there's not enough time on the stream. And like we said, we do want to leave a lot of it up to you guys to figure out, right? So,
I'm so excited to see how you guys are gonna pull it off, because it's complicated and it's supposed to be complicated.
And one really cool thing is that after you fire the rocket, if you walk into the blast zone, actually, it looks like the screenshot here. So this screenshot isn't fake, right? Basically, when you walk in the blast zone, Matt, do you want to talk about the effects of it?
Basically, I kind of want you guys to see it for the first time. But basically, we're gonna be changing the way the game looks a little bit in those areas, so that it's pretty clear what's happened. It should be pretty obvious that the area you're in is no longer usable, whether or not you have a map.
It actually feels really cool to walk into one of those blast zones, right? So. So that's kind of all we're gonna say for now. Hope you guys find it exciting, and
I can't wait to hear
ship tomorrow.
The war stories that are going to come out of this, I think, are going to be probably the coolest. I think.
I'm excited as well.
And sort of one last thing, just because I'm kind of seeing the chat a little bit, I don't want to give away like all of it, but like you're not going to be able to spawn like hundreds of these. It's not going to be something that you can spam. So the people who are worried about that, maybe you'll be all right.
Don't worry about it. That's really cool. I am really excited about it.
Cool. Are we?
Let's see what's else.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in the chat because I made a command.
This is really cool. If anybody doesn't know, last year we actually won the Indie of the Year 2017. We were first place with the help of all the community voting, which is just fantastic. This year we are already on the second round of votes, and you don't have to register or anything like that. You don't have to you don't have to make an account or anything like that, or you just click on the link and you can vote for us. I think we can vote on both strategy and 2 categories. I think it was tactical shooter and game of the year itself. And we are going to the second round already, so thank you very much for everybody that already voted to make us go there. Hopefully we can win a second year in a row. Can you imagine if we win second year in a row, people are really going to start noticing like, who the hell is Foxhole
and why are we always winning?
Why are we always winning? And the reason why we're always winning is because of you guys, because we have an amazing goddamn community.
Don't tell them about our secret weapon.
Because we have the best community.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. So hopefully you guys will be able to vote. And we'll vote, and that would be fantastic.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's time for our Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got something special this week. This morning I put up a channel in Discord for people to ask questions, and we're also going to take questions live because that's what we always do. But HB, why don't you ask your question?
Oh, the first one is mine. Okay.
Oh, didn't you know?
I thought the first one was yours. Okay, that's okay.
But y'all can start asking questions in chat. And part of the reason I wanted to do this was just because sometimes people can't always be here.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to ask a question from Oslador. Do you plan to allow soldiers to equip the bayonet as a secondary weapon, like a handgun or a revolver, if they do not have rifles or carbine, possibly to use it as a knife?
There are no specific plans for that. However, we do feel that one of the areas that does need to be revamped is weapon and inventory management, just to make it more realistic and being able to, I mean, this is not something that we have, it's not like officially planned, but I'm just sort of speaking to what we find exciting is things like being able to like unload your clip and have a partial clip that maybe you can combine it with another clip and just have like more, Foxhole, as much as it is about the big things like super weapons and the tanks and all that stuff, it's also about the small little things as well. And sometimes it's easy to forget about those small things. And I think to speak to that question, that's sort of one of those little things that is exciting, right? So
absolutely. Exactly.
Torrento asks, for the rocket, is the coordinates a fixed point, or can you hit any location?
It's player generated, right? So it's up to the spotter, but there are restrictions around it. So one of the things that I knew would be asked, so this is a good time to be talking about it, is that we put a lot of mental energy into making sure that the rocket can't be easily abused. So there's a lot of safety nets that we've kind of put into place. So what we were trying to balance is like, what is the most player driven that we can make this while making it secure enough that it's going to be worth your effort and it's not going to frustrate everyone, right?
Yep.
So this is one of the reasons why actually we waited so long, is because figuring out these gameplay issues is both from the game design standpoint incredibly difficult, but trying to like implement all these corner cases, or rather implement the security nets
around the corner case
for these corner cases is incredibly hard. And I can say that like, the people on the team who worked on this feature, they did a great job, right? Because this is one of like the dream features that you always think about, and you want in the game, but then when you sit down to actually put it in the game, you're like, wait a minute, there's a million problems.
I mean, you guys know, because we talked about it a long time ago. Like, we built this thing like ages ago.
Yeah.
And then we went silent on it because it wasn't ready. It just wasn't, and this is the reason.
Like there's also there's also another reason why we waited was because we wanted to make sure that we were able to pull it off in a way that was the dream feature and not just a subpar version of it. Like, there's some real, I don't want to spoil it all, but like, man, like, you'll hear a siren if you're in the town, right?
Yeah.
and like the rocket is about to hit, I don't want to. There's just so much cool things about this feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That, like-
I think we could probably literally spend the next hour talking about it because it's a pretty complex thing.
But we won't. Because we want you guys also to have the feeling of discovery. I think this is something so new and so interesting, so fascinating that I think
different.
Yeah.
Let's sort of like boil it down to say there are a lot of ways to use it and there are a lot of ways to counter it.
Yeah. That's good.
You know, there's a lot you can do, and it's not this like impenetrable thing that once it starts it can't be stopped. Like there is a no turning back point, but like it's pretty. You know,
You guys
it's pretty balanced, I think, from a completely biased perspective. All right, go ahead. HP.
Okay. I have one. Okay, Loxon has an interesting question in here. Something. Would you consider reforming skirmishes to be more inclusive to objective-based playstyle other than territory control? An example, like escort missions, Kingdom Hill, search and recover or destroy, or anything else that engages the players to work together for a common interest. In skirmishes, particularly.
Right, in skirmish. Skirmish has been a really tough one for us, and I think we got into a place where it's stable. I would say it's stable. I think there's still a huge room to improve it. I think that I have to be honest about that one. I think part of the reason that it has been a challenge is because we always have to think about how we're spending our time, right? And we always have to think about what are the parts of the game that we feel like we should be spending our time on. And ultimately, World Conquest is the ultimate mold, right? And anything else that we do is going to be a distraction from that. But that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. But it's just like, how much time do we want to spend on that? Because even things like the Halloween event, as an example, that's fine. It was one-off. We're going to spend some time on something fun. But we would never get so carried away with something like that that we will forget about the main game, right? And we want to make sure that all our effort is spent on the main game. In terms of the actual... So that's kind of like the context. In terms of the idea, I think the idea is cool, right? Because it could be something different for players to play when they can like take a break from the game. So it's not something that I mean, who knows? But it's definitely possible, right?
Well, I think just to put it in perspective, what I think some of the spirit of the question is that, like it or not, skirmishes happen when World Conquest is not there. And in that regards, it is the main game as well. When skirmishes is happening, skirmish is also the main game. Yeah, we never. That's the whole reason why we did skirmish, is because we wanted them to be impactful and meaningful.
That's why there's the supply drops.
That's why there's supply drops, exactly. So in regards to that, maybe considering other options for people while skirmishes is happening is not a bad idea at all.
No, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's just that, like it or not, more people play World Conquest, more people are engaged, and it harkens back to what is the core central of our game, which is having one world on this one war.
Exactly.
So we have to always balance out literally development time on what we're gonna do with them.
And the other thing is we do want to have a difference between the war and sort of the preamble, because the war is the event. Yeah. Which we firmly believe is like part of the core appeal, is that it's not just constant. And I think skirmishes are right now in a good... I think there's some changes that could be made for sure, especially with regards to you know, like like some of the town stuff doesn't... I personally, you know, KFC and I were talking about this. Some of the towns don't work in the same way anymore, just because of some of the changes to like Logi and stuff. But I think the skirmish maps are serving their purpose pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it's also a weird map because the skirmish maps are actually part of the conquest as well. So I always then sort of like have a hard time in calling them skirmish maps, even though they kind of are. So
they serve a particular purpose, right? And that is so that like when the mainland opens up, like it's an event, and and that is taken up, and then
Right.
but there's always something to do, and always something meaningful that's going to affect the next war, and I think that's important.
But then again, if we do have more development time, because if hopefully this game will continue to be as successful as it is, even more so in the coming years, right? And we don't intend to like just stop, like, or just abandon this game anytime soon. We could potentially consider the possibility of having event maps that are more permanent, maybe if we have the time to develop something like that. Like, but that's, if it happens, it would be much further in the future.
So to follow up, because I think the person that asked the question is saying that they're not asking to remove control, just to add other options. And my sort of response to that is that, at least this is from my perspective personally, not so much like answering for everybody, is that like if you want like an escort mission, that's probably something you've already kind of done. You just didn't realize it because it's kind of part of the game. Like if you have to escort like a tank, or if you have to escort like a vehicle to make sure that like it's able to build in the next town, like those kind of things happen as a result of our game in a lot of ways. If we made it sort of this arbitrary thing, I'm not sure what it would like, if it would feel good, if it would feel right in Foxhole, given that it's so like player driven. That's my only sort of thought about some of that. Like if it was kill based, like that's not what Foxhole is at its core, you know. So I think we'd have to give that a lot of thought to figure it out. Like they would have to be pretty out there, kind of like Dead Harvest, actually.
Yeah. Your turn.
Yeah, I'll ask a real question, I guess now. Big Daddy asks, do you plan on having dismemberment or flame damage to character's body added to the game? Take it away, Mark.
We'd like that.
Human Gibbs.
Gibbs?
No, I think we'd like that. I think we always there's a lot of cool stuff that that we sort of have floating in our minds of things that we want to pull off before we want to pull off in the game, I would say, right? Rockets were one of those things, and a bunch of other things floating around in our minds. I think that they're related to that question, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to happen at some point. We'll see when.
And I think with regards to like dismemberment, like war is hell. And I think one of the things that we try to do is, at the very least, make it seem kind of severe. So, like, I think if you're thinking it's going to be like Doom or something, it's probably not going to be like that.
Yeah.
Although you see a lot of like blood
There's
already.
a lot of blood.
It would be
I think
nice
there's
if you
already,
like
too much blood.
if after somebody dies, you can maybe leave a leg behind.
I mean, I would probably, like, if it were my perspective, I'd probably want to make it really uncomfortable, not like this like cool thing. But
Yeah.
but that's just because I think it's a little glorified in a lot of other media.
Yeah.
And when war is bad.
Yeah. I agree.
Statement of the day.
Okay, so my turn, I think, and I'm gonna be very selfish and ask a question that gears towards me, but also towards you. You see why. Speaking of things that if we have time to do, Bandage Boy asks, are there any plans for new animations for different items / interacting with different objects? Example, holding a med kit instead of bare hands, wrenching a tank versus wrenching a truck, and so on. So it's as much as for you as for me, because this is all depends on how much time I have to do the animations and to add more animations to the game. There's a reason why Foxhole is still in early access. It's because there's still more polish to come that can be done to the game before we can release 1.0. And I know for a fact that we have some slotted time for more animation polish as well, like further in the pipeline. But what comes with that is very, it may vary, because, for instance, I when I'm talking about polish, I always tend to give preference to, for instance, the shooting aspect and the gathering aspect, because they're like the main focus of it. If the wrenching, for instance, this is obviously just an example. If the wrenching of the truck is slightly different than the wrenching of the tank, is a little bit lower priority in that list.
Yeah, I think that I think we definitely want to make things better there, especially where it impacts the gameplay, like actually showing like a grenade on a player when they're throwing it, This isn't exactly animation, but
But it's still related, yeah.
showing like the RPG. You know, if you're carrying, it's kind of it's always very silly to me that you're carrying an RPG in your backpack and
nobody can see.
No one can see it. So I think we'd like to take care of some of those things when we have some time. Man, there's just so much stuff I want to work on. It's
Personally,
crazy.
I would love to just like get a month and just work on that. It would be so good. But
you know, someone's saying in the chat right now, like the revolvers don't have slides, and
exactly
there's
things
so,
like
there's
that.
so
Yeah.
much stuff that like we were
Yeah.
totally aware of, but it, like at the moment, like
it's
the amount of time it would take to do like a fully like unique like revolver animation for each moment is to get it because we're still in alpha. So when that stuff. We're still in alpha. I mean, we're in early access, but we're not even out of alpha. So, like with that in mind, like that stuff is not the highest priority. It's getting everything in the game, getting all the features complete, and then doing another round of polish, and then another round of polish, and that'll continue.
Yeah.
And I think I know I've commented many times about like how the gun animation, like gun things need certain things, even with the effects, like some stuff doesn't make sense, like where the shell casings. There's so many little things that could be, but I think we'll get to it because it's not away from our minds, you know.
Yeah.
There's one. I'm gonna ask two questions. There's one that's really simple. I just want to address it. Trento asks if the lore is going to be added in the cities. It's not going to be in 0.20. Most of the lore is gone. Anything that was in a town is gone because it was easier to get rid of it. But I'll be bringing all of that stuff back with some new stuff in future updates, so don't worry.
I'm excited about lore.
yeah,
And I've had a lot of conversations about that recently.
Yeah, I think there'll be some new stuff too. K31R0 asks, is it like Kiro, I guess? Is it possible, or have you considered to make Foxhole a different theme, like Vietnam? For example, you have mentioned in one of your previous dev streams that world conquest is just a part of the world. So having that in mind, is it possible to move a world conquest event to a different themed map, like a Vietnam theme?
I don't think so we're experimenting in the background with other things. Actually, for the last like half year to a year, we've been, besides all the updates that we're working on, we've also been experimenting with different things in the background, on things we can do sort of in the further future for the game and for like potentially like other projects and stuff like that. These are all just experiments, but we always have things on the side. It's just part of the culture. And one of the reasons also why we've expanded the team so much is so that we can do that while continuing to work on Foxhole like 100%. So things like a Vietnam War type of theme is a cool idea, right? And I don't know if we're gonna, necessarily do that sort of thing, but I think that it's safe to say that we are thinking about like other types of themes for this type of game, right? And we're always experimenting. So
I think I have a sort of a follow-up, in a way, same venue question. Maloran asks, how big do you see the game map getting for release and post-release?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot recently, and it's always this struggle between like maps and like population and like queues, and we do a lot of things to like relieve these kind of stresses. I'd like to see the world get a little, at least like a little bigger. And I'd like to also shake things up on the mainland. Even like we pretty much transformed the mainland, but I guess in terms of like the geography itself, well, we've also done that on like Farinac Coast. But I guess what I mean is like the 3x3 grid. Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Because everything else has changed. I'd like to see some shake up there, and I'd like to also just revisit some of our ideas of what it means for the war to be a persistent war. It's very vague, but I'm already sort of like looking forward to having a bit of a break after this update so we can sit down with the team and we can sort of take a step back take a deep breath, and start planning the next large pieces. And I think a part of that is sort of making sure that the mainland I mean, the world is gonna stay fresh. It's gonna stay really exciting, right?
Well, also, there's things that could be done as well. Like I think it's Orebreaker, right? That is like out to the east that people can
West.
to the west. Yeah, sorry, to the west that people can like travel back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what we want to do is try to like integrate back some of those regions into the mainland, and I'm still really excited personally about still to not forget about the things we were trying to do when we first started talking about like one world, making things feel more integrated, making things feel more persistent, more like one world. These are things we're going to continue to chip away at next year. We're not going to give up. This is just, you know, there's still a lot of work to be done. Like
I said, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
We could end there. That'd be really good, but we're not going to. TechnoSound01 asks, is there any chance or plans to rework the barracks?
Barracks?
Or implement the same type of a stockpile in the town hall / outpost with a cap limit on the amount of equipment you can put down?
I don't want to get into too much, but I think in terms of like base building and like barracks and stuff like that, I think we have even bigger plans for that sort of thing. And all I'd say is look out for next year, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
We have time for one more.
We're gonna ask a few more questions.
Okay, cool. So Decker Holf asks a pretty interesting question. I think more in regards to roleplay and lore and all that. On front lines in the past, specifically in First and Second World Wars, the supply of non-essentials such as letters and tobacco was found to be just as important to the soldiers as bullets and bandages. That being said, have you ever considered any supply items that are purely for killing time while you're not killing the enemy? Boredom can be deadly to morale, and you know what they say about idle hands.
So,
man, that's cool.
There's a reason that there's a tobacco case that you can find, and that people have gone nuts over trying to figure out what it's for. That's what I will say.
Sounds mysterious,
man. Yeah.
But yeah, like you know. All of that stuff is you know, it'd be kind of cool, Mark, if players had like a notebook that they could like write in.
Oh, that would be so awesome. Actually, we had some really cool idea a while back about making the player profiles like some sort of like a war journal type of deal. Man, it's just, yeah. I mean, if there's any like, you know, what's funny? If there's any sort of like fun, not inconsequential, but like non-gameplay, serious gameplay impacting things, right? Like, you should bring it up now because we got like a bit of fun time, I would say.
Throw your stuff.
Update,
throw your stuff and suggestions.
Yeah.
When it comes to, especially when it comes to like lore stuff, I'm going to be, you know, thinking about that stuff going forward now. But yeah, to your question, like I agree, and that's why a lot of the stuff you see with regards to lore is like magazines, you know, writing things down in journals, old journals that people have left behind, conversations that are written on paper, you know, that type of stuff. You know, tobacco, jerky, like those kinds of those kinds of things to me are really important to get across, because that, just like the question question asker,
No, I agree 100%. Yeah.
Let me see. Zaster Slip asks, what are your thoughts about an airdrop system?
Airdrop.
Ooh.
Didn't we talk about this before a little bit? I think
airdrop system in terms of like player driven or just like being able to
request airdrops, maybe.
So I'll go further. There was a little bit more to that question, but I felt like it was clear enough. For example, you can order supplies at the front line, and someone can send these supplies at the port bases.
So it is player driven.
Okay, player driven. I mean, I think it's cool. I think that it's. I think I think there have been conversations at the office about that other that whole other part of warfare. But I think it's too early. Like Foxhole's going to be a long journey, and I think it's too early to really talk too much about that. I mean, I think it'd be really cool. Right?
Well, I think it would tie very well with Logi. Let's say you, instead of you driving all the way there, you can send an airdrop. But the difference is that you can send an airdrop to the enemy, but the enemy also knows that airdrop is falling, as if they could see it. Maybe there's a dot in the map, so if somebody's checking the map, they can see that there is an airdrop arriving in a certain time. So now that creates a system in which like people can fight for that and things like that. Could be interesting to do.
Cool. All right, we're gonna ask 2 more questions, one from the bucket and one live.
Okay, I have one already prepared. Maybar66 is asking, I think is a question, a very good question for you. So Mark, so as the game hits 5 gigabytes now, are you thinking of any reduction of the file size somehow? It might be getting big for some people that have like poor internet and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. We're gonna start to so much of our optimization effort, because the game is still in early access, we focus a lot on the server because we really want to get more players into the war, right? Which is the main goal, and we tend to focus less on like client optimization. So I think that's why, like, we tend not to keep as close an eye on that kind of stuff. But I think we are coming to the point where we might need to start worrying about that more. Because the game's getting bigger. The art assets are getting like higher fidelity,
and we have people from all around the world, and like maybe Europe and North America, which are like some of the main players. They have good internet, but you can have people from other places that 5 gigabytes might be something not to sneeze at, right?
But then it's also worth mentioning that like as the game increases in size, it's inevitable.
Yes.
To a certain degree. That's not to say we can't optimize it more.
Unfortunately, Steam does a very clever way of doing like a binary diff, and
so you usually don't have to download. I think this update will be big, but
you only download. You only download what's changed. In this case, right now, it's gonna be a lot. This update.
At least we're like. There are other games on Steam that I play regularly that are like 100 gigs, and it's like every update. It's like impossible.
Yeah, but we don't want to. We don't want to get.
I'm actually pretty proud that our game's very small in size. To be honest.
That being said, it's not something that we're just gonna ignore because there are other games that are bigger. Optimization is something that definitely has a place in the timeline of the game production.
It's just not a high priority right now.
Which is not a high priority because particularly client optimization, something that can and should be done a little bit closer to the end for us, the way we do our game. Just because we are changing things so much so quickly and adding new stuff, doing optimization on the fly would be very hard.
We do a little bit. Like even with the town revamp, we did a little bit, but
but it's still there's more that can be done. Let's go. He's gonna ask another question, but stick around. We actually do have a special video before the end of the Steam.
Yeah, the one you saw wasn't the special one we were talking about.
It was just like a technical difficulty, just technical glitch. I don't know what it was. Last question, Matt.
Just trying to find one that would be very good.
Maybe we'll do one more rocket one since we sort of shied away from that.
Oh dear.
Okay. Patrurin asks, please tell us what a valuable destructible target is for the rocket. We can't easily try to check if it works, and I wouldn't want to launch a rocket at something only to find out that it can't be killed.
You'll be able to try.
Furthermore, like you won't be able to fire a rocket at something that can't be killed. So I think you'll be okay.
Good question.
So I mean, hey, that worked out. That was pretty short. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our 2-year anniversary live stream.
We're gonna have some cake.
We've been doing this for 2 years. We've been on couches. We had one microphone. It was a snowball to start, and then it was a better one, but it didn't make any difference. And then we got these mics, and then we sat on a couch again.
And now we're finally here.
And now we have a cake.
Yay!
That no one else out there gets to eat. It's just going to be us 3.
Yes.
Forget them.
Yeah, we don't care about them.
It's our Devstream.
Thank you very much for everybody that joined us all this time. For everybody that has been like sending submissions all around, everybody that has been just part of the community. Even if you're silent and you never ask questions, even if you like logged once a year ago, it helps us get here. Don't worry, everybody. We'll eat the cake eventually. It's just that right now it would be a mess. Oh God, that's a throwback.
If anybody's wondering why I'm picking up a blue chair.
If you guys, I'll do my spiel. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for also commenting on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for for your comments. We read the comments. We're trying to respond to every one of them now. Particularly KFC is trying to be there right after the game. The video is posted, right before so that more people get questions answered. If you guys can join us on Discord, otherwise join us every 2 weeks on Devstream. But our next Devstream, when is it gonna be? I actually don't know.
So
we're gonna take a break for the Christmas
we're gonna take a break,
and the celebrations and everything.
I'm thinking about possibility of doing something kind of similar to last year, but that is to be determined. Update 20 needs to go out, and then we can think about it. So we'll see what happens there. There is one thing that I do want to mention though.
Yes.
Is that man, there's so much exciting things happening.
Yeah, right? I know, right?
So tomorrow morning, a trailer for Update 20 is gonna hit, and it's awesome. So hope you guys like it.
Yeah.
And by like it, I mean actually hit the like button on this so we can try to get
that would be really good. It helps us a lot.
Utilize the YouTube visibility algorithm.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's going to show off a lot of what we've done, and then the conquest begins. So it's going to be crazy end of the year.
Yeah. Do you want to blow the candle so that we have another good year, Mark? That is. Yeah.
We're fucked. Okay, so I'm gonna play the video, and we'll see you guys whenever we see you.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.